Sports-A-Delic's What is Up? What is Up? I am Reem. Who would have thunk it? Who would have thought that on a Monday night, the Giants playing against Kansas City Chiefs, that we would be glued to the television up until the last minute in the fourth quarter? But that's what happens on any given night in this world of sports. I'm going to recap a couple of the college games. I'm going to tell you the games that I think that we need to be mindful of coming up this week in college and the pros. Join me over here in the studio. Sports-A-Delic's What is Up? I am Reem. That's Lil Reem. Give a shout out to Lil Reem. Also, hit that subscribe, like, and share for me. As I told you in the intro, who would have thought that the Giants, the G-Men, the football Giants, would give Kansas City all that they could handle on a Monday night? No one. But that's what sports is about. That's why we watch it. That's why we love it. Now, don't be too shocked and surprised, because again, here at Sports-A-Delic, it's not about your thoughts and it's not about your feelings. It's about the facts. So if we just pull back the onion, then we can smell how stinky things really are. We really, at the end of the day, had two of the worst defensive teams battling it out. Kansas City, they're ranked 31st out of 32 teams in defense. And then the G-Men, they're ranked 23rd. So you look at Kansas City, their run defense is ranked 29th. Their pass defense is ranked 28th. Then you go over here to the G-Men. They run defense is ranked much better at 15, but their passing is ranked 27th. So again, no shocker why this game was as close as it was, because again, the numbers suggested that it would be. Now we know that Patrick Mahomes is the $50 million man. It's official. He came in the game tied for first place, leading the NFL in interceptions with Zach Wilson over there at the Jets. It's official that Patrick Mahomes, after the pick that he threw tonight, he now leads the quarterbacks in interceptions right now. Now, what is really going on with Kansas City? Now, yes, they've been a little banged up, with injuries. We got Edwards-Helaire, he's out. But Frank Gore, the ageless wonder, Frank Gore, he came in, gave him a nice boost, and got himself a touchdown. But Patrick Mahomes' offensive line isn't holding up. And I've been saying this ever since I've been a little girl and could understand football. I don't care what quarterback that you have. It's two things that he is going to need to be successful: an offensive line and a serviceable running back. And that's where Patrick Mahomes looks like a mere mortal, whereas before he looked like he was a Marvel character or something, right? So again, that's why Kansas City is 3-5 versus 5-3, or they are picked to go back to the Super Bowl. It's hard to believe that they are just one season removed from being in the Super Bowl. They're penalty ridden, which cost them a lot in the Super Bowl, and they shot themselves in the foot again tonight. Now, the referees missed a critical personal foul. They called a face mask, and he didn't grab the face mask. So they gave him an extra 15 yards that helped, ultimately put them, in field goal range. But the G-Men shot themselves in the foot by jumping off sides, because Patrick Mahomes had thrown his second, interception. So that's, again, what's going on with the Kansas City Chiefs. But it was a great game. I don't have a dog in the fight, but I have to be objective, when I'm bringing this information to you guys. Again, you like my content, please hit that subscribe. Definitely like, definitely share. Now, college this week wasn't any real big games, but a game to watch was definitely the Michigan versus Michigan State game. That's the in-state, rivalry. I'm not the one saying this, but you talk to anybody that graduated from Michigan, they say, well, if your parents can afford it, you go to Michigan. If you can't afford it, you go to Michigan State. Again, I'm not the one that's saying it, but that's just how they trash talk among themselves. Me being a Clemson University graduate, our in-state rival is the Gamecocks. And I've always told people, hey, suck anybody's cock you want. So it's just that type of trash talking, that goes on, especially at the collegiate level. Now, again, people had thought that the Georgia-Florida game was going to be worth tuning in. I don't think that Florida even came out of the locker room. They were smashed 34-7 at home. And again, who knew that they were going to stay in the locker room? But they did. Hence, Georgia put the pound down, and now they're moving on, to whoever they have to play next. Now, there's 3 games coming up that I think you need to tune in at the collegiate level. You got UNC, University of North Carolina, ACC matchup, playing against the shocking 10th ranked team in the country, the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. Now, I'm all about, the ACC, but this is a trap game. I do think that UNC, they're playing at home. And let me tell you what a trap game is. It's a game that you should win, but you may not because they're on the road. The stars are kind of lined up against you. And it's something about sitting on that number 10. If you check the history on this, that 10th ranked team seemed to always falter. I remember a few years back, we went into Blacksburg, then Virginia Tech. We were ranked 10th in the country and got smoked like a cigar. And speaking of cigars, Flathead by CAO. This is called the Flathead Steel Horse. Full body, but it has good flavor. It's not overpowering. It's not going to blow the top of your head off. And if you know anything about CAO, then you know about Rick Rodriguez. He's the master blender. He puts out some of the best, most consistent product that's out there on the market. So check out the Flathead. But moving on, I'm going to pick UNC as the upset against Wake Forest. You heard it here at Sports-A-Delic. The other game, you got 12th ranked Auburn going up against 13th ranked Texas A&M. Texas A&M, I think, will win the game. They just play hellacious at home. And Auburn has been, disappointing for me to watch. So I can only imagine what it's been like, for Auburn. It's been just as disappointing to watch Auburn as it has been for me to watch, Clemson. But I think it'll be a good game. I think it'll be a close game. But I think when it's all said and done, Texas A&M will walk out of there with the W. The other game, Michigan, and they're going to be going up against Indiana. Indiana, this is a trap game as well. Indiana's going to be playing at home. I don't honestly know who's going to win this game. Typically, Michigan here lately under Harbaugh they kind of up and down and all over the place. This was a tremendous loss for their program, this year. They needed this win this past Saturday to really get over the hump. Now, this is all leading up to the showdown between Michigan and Ohio State. And the only thing I'm saying, Michigan, is this. This guy Walker ran through your defense for 200 yards and 5 touchdowns. 5 touchdowns. So hats off to Walker. You did your thing. Now, Ohio State has this freshman, this kid Henderson. And if you don't get your run defense corrected by the time you run up against Ohio State, he's going to be running through your defense, out your back door, all the way through your house, because this kid is a beast. He's big, he's quick, and he has excellent vision. That's just what I think. I don't get paid. Those offensive and defensive guys, those coaches, they get paid to ultimately figure those things out. I'm just giving you the heads up. If Walker ran through your defense, Henderson definitely is going to run through your defense. You got to get that corrected, and you have time for that big showdown. And Harbaugh, he's on borrowed time. I mean, they've given him a pay cut. He was brought there to do one thing and one thing only, which is beat Ohio State. Now, from what I understand, Ohio State has won the last 8 meetings. But I had an old Ohio State graduate, this guy Mark. He corrected me today. He said, well, truthfully, we have won 17 out of the last 20 games. And I said, well, excuse me, Mark. And he said, and we'll beat them again because they suck and swallow. I got another homeboy that graduated from Michigan, and Chuck, Mark says that you guys suck and swallow. They own you guys, and they'll win again. Chuck feels confident that they're going to shock the world. And who are we kidding? It will shock the world if these guys are able to pull off the win. After all, Harbaugh's job, I think, is really on the line this time. They look a lot better on offense and defense, but, who knows. Moving on to the NFL. It's not a lot of big games that's going to be taking place on Sunday, but I think you should pay attention. I think the Patriots and the Panthers is going to be a good game. The Patriots, we got to give credit where it's due. Matt Jones is coming in as a rookie, and typically Alabama quarterbacks don't exactly measure up when they get in the pros. Hence, look at what's going on with Tua. Every time you turn around, they're trying to deal him. Go up there to Philly, they're trying to deal Jalen Hurts. These are guys that won national championships and were just terror at the collegiate level that seemingly is nothing more, than trash. Trevor Lawrence coming out of Clemson, Justin Fields coming out of Ohio State. They're struggling, but again, they're expected to struggle. There's no offensive line, and I don't know that they have a whole lot of offensive firepower. But, and I'm not being biased, you can still tell that Trevor Lawrence, if they build up that line and build that team around him, you can see that he's going to do some work. And Justin Fields played better this past Sunday. He's a scrambler. Remember, Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields, coming out of high school here in Georgia, they were ranked number 1 and number 2. Trevor Lawrence was ranked as the number 1 pocket passer, whereas Justin Fields was ranked as the number 1 dual threat. I think Trevor Lawrence, during his collegiate career, just surprised people by his ability to also run. But if you kept up with anything about Trevor Lawrence, you know that he ran the read option quite well in high school. So it wasn't a shock to us, but I guess it was a shock, to those defenses going up against him. But all in all, tune in to the Patriots-Panthers game, see what Matt Jones is going to do. Belichick, he is who he is. We can't dispute the fact that this man has the incredible ability to spot and see talent and then get the the most out of those guys. I'm sad to report the there was some key injuries this past Sunday. The Iron Man and Henry, he went down. He's going to have foot surgery. Looks like he's out for the season. That's the latest report. Jameis Winston, he's out. ACL and MCL damage. And for all of you that are still learning the game of football, this horse collar tackling is when a guy is drugged down by the back, of his jersey. The reason why that's a penalty and it's dangerous is because of what happened to Jameis Winston. It forces your legs to kind of get, caught up underneath your body weight. And then when you hit that turf, if that foot gets stuck, only thing left to give is the knee. And sadly, that's what happened with Jameis. And I hate that for him because this was a true second chance for him. And he had been playing absolutely well. And you just never know how a guy is going to come back after major injuries like that. But we wish him well, and we hope that he's able to get back out there. With technology, he has a better chance than he would, 10, 20 years ago. Another game I think you want to tune in for is the Texans versus the Rams. Reason being, they have pulled off the unthinkable. The Tennessee Titans have, yes, pulled out AD, all day Adrian Peterson. Again, subscribe, like, and share, because I'm telling you, he played one season with Washington football team, and we had a decimated offensive line, pretty similar to how it is now. And this guy was able to rush for over 1,000 yards behind that line. That was incredible because Adrian Peterson, as you know, played with the Minnesota Vikings, and he was used to having a lead blocker, whereas he was a single back set. And for him to make those kind of moves and do what he did, I thought was amazing. I was amazed that he could just be pulled off the couch and be in tip-top shape. And the word out there on the street is he looks better than he did when he first came in the league. So tune into that game. I don't know how much they're going to play him or if he's going to be ready to play. But if he is, it's worth watching just because all day we know what he does all day. And so I'm excited, for him to get himself back in the league and continue to make that money. What is left of Pittsburgh? Ben Roethlisberger is a shell of himself. They're pimping Najee Harris out as a receiver because the offensive line, it's impossible to try to run. Juju Smith-Schuster is out. Nobody stepped up. So this should be a breakout performance for Justin Fields. Poor thing, he's behind a decimated line. And I challenge anybody, just name 3 players worth a damn on the offensive side of the ball, minus Justin Fields for Chicago. So again, it's borderline worth watching because we want to see, is Najee going to break out or is, Justin Fields going to break out? So it's just an opportunity for us to kind of take a peek at those rookies and see what happens. Again, thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe, and share. And as I told you, try this Flathead by CAO. I think you enjoy it. And also, I have a special little treat that's going to be coming up once a week. I'll tell you about that later. Have a good night.